Mr. Deputy Chairman, I thank you very much for providing me an opportunity to speak on this important bill with regard to the repeal of certain enactments and to amend certain other enactments. In fact, this exercise has been undertaken from time to time. I have a little problem on this. You may kindly recall that in the monsoon session, we passed a similar bill covering about 35 enactments and amendments. Sir, it has been referred to the standing committee. It is being examined with reference to certain decisions given on the same subject by the Supreme Court, instead of rushing through in passing the bill here, which may be sometimes an unnecessary exercise and taking away the precious time of this House. Maybe this can also be referred to the Parliamentary Standing Committee. This could be taken up together with the report of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on those 35 enactments passed in the monsoon session. This is the more appropriate way of taking up a matter like this. I made an inquiry with the status of that report also. I think it is still under consideration and they have not yet finalized the bill. I do not know whether this has been recommended by the Law Commission or by a review committee. If any one of these bodies has recommended this, perhaps the entire text of the report could have been made available to this House. Just bringing a skeleton of a list and presenting it will be quite an elaborate exercise for all the honorable members to go through the merit of each case. Sometimes we may have to blindly approve this bill and send it. It is very risky. Sometimes the law may be blind, but members cannot be blind. I think we need to make a serious exercise on a matter like this so that we do not regret for any mistake tomorrow. There are very important matters on a matter of principle. For example, long back when our government was there, we had referred to the Law Commission to enact a law of torts, which is a necessary enactment. The Supreme Court or the courts pass judgment on the basis of certain verdict from the Supreme Court of the United States or the British law. That is how our case, particularly relating to the victims of the Bhopal gas tragedy, suffered. They went ahead for 2 years. They failed there for want of jurisdiction. They came here because the headquarters of that corporate entity is in the United States. Ultimately, they had to arrive at some compromise which worked to the detriment of the victims of the Bhopal gas tragedy. That is why even now it is unresolved. I think the government should be very careful. We should ask the Law Commission to apply their mind on an urgent basis, come out with a draft law on torts which is a must for any civilized society. It is just not available. I would request the Law Ministry and the government to ensure that they ask the Law Commission to come out with a report on an important enactment like the Law of Torts. Another point which I started examining as Law Minister earlier was at various stages of consideration, and I would like to know the status of that today. That is about sensitizing of our laws on the principle of gender equality. Many of our laws are not sensitive to gender. There is a law for one gender and there is a different law for another gender. Ultimately, it results in abuse of law, as a result of which people suffer. I think it should be on the top of the agenda of the government and this parliament to ensure that all our laws are made gender sensitive. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code was considered by the Supreme Court and again the Honorable High Court of Delhi considered, and it unfortunately resorted it in the statute book. Laws are ideally made or unmade by the government, not the judiciary, and more importantly, the burden of deciding the validity of Section 377 of Indian Penal Code had to be entertained only because legislatures have not reviewed it since it was passed in 1861. This is again a very important matter which requires the urgent attention of the government and parliament. We have a lot of problems, no doubt, in our legal system. For instance, 43 years after the abolition of Trha persists. There is a law which still requires a police official to appear bareheaded before royalty. The Indian Treasure Act makes it criminal to fail to inform the collector or other senior officers of the state in waiting of the discovery of the treasure exiting of any value. Sir, I wish to raise an important issue relating to the Ministry of Human Resource Development. I submit that looking at the number of members of this commission, I find that the element of representation of the public is kept very low. At the same time, I should point out that the members of this commission are working very hard. But somehow or other, I find that the ministry has a special quality of its own. So far as I am able to see, there are some persons who are found on every commission and every committee that the ministry forms. I believe that in the interest of the proper functioning of these committees and commissions, we should take care to see that too many duties and too much of work are not given to same persons. I would also submit that the University Grants Commission should not be a body that is controlled by the Vice Chancellors of the Universities of India. I think there are some very competent professors in our country who are in no way inferior to the Vice Chancellors of any university. I do not see any reason why some of those professors should not find a place on this commission. I would therefore submit that the whole composition of this commission should be looked into and should be given a new look in accordance with the new needs of the country. There are some ministries which are sending people abroad from time to time. I do not know which ministry of the government deserves the first prize in this respect. But one thing is very much clear, that we are sending too many persons abroad for study, for research and other things. I do not understand as to why the secretary of this commission should have been out of this country for 7 weeks. I do not understand as to why some officers should have been out of the country for so long, especially when parliament session is going on. I have no objection of their going out of this country. But I would submit that if the officers go out of the country for a long time, I do not know how this commission will function. I would say that if it is necessary to send some persons abroad, it should be done. We should not make it a usual practice to send many persons abroad for such a long time. I say this because we are not able to get sufficient advantage from the visits of these persons abroad. We are not able to put into effect all that these persons bring from abroad. Therefore, in this matter, I must submit very respectfully that we should not follow a very liberal policy. We should not permit our officers to go abroad for some reason or other. The next point I want to make is that this commission formed by the ministry has done good work. It has extended the scope of its activities and I feel happy about it. It has not confined its attention only to the central universities. It has also been taking great interest in the affairs of the affiliated colleges. It has also been taking keen interest in the welfare of the teachers working in those colleges. As a matter of fact, I am very glad about it. I would therefore say that in the interest of keeping up the standard of the teaching profession, it is necessary that the commission should devote more attention to this than to any other body. The central universities are in a very happy position. They are the first charge on the finances of the central government so as far as education is concerned. The other state universities are also in the same happy position. They get money from state governments and other sources. But when I come to private colleges, I doubt if they are in a sound position. They do not get any money from the state governments. If they get something, it is very small. At the same time, private donations are drawing up. Private donations which used to keep these institutions going in the past are not available now. So these private colleges have to be looked after. This can be done only if the Universities Grants Commission devotes some attention to them. They should not be looked upon as orphans of the academic world as they have been looked upon so far. When I come to my own state, I find that a great deal of money is spent on government colleges. I do not say that government colleges are not doing good work. I agree that they are doing good work, but the money that is spent on the government colleges is quite high to the enrollment.